Quan, Welfare Wifeys, a hood rat novel. Prologue. Blood in, blood out. It had been a long night from the time they had opened up shop. Fiends had been coming back and forth scoring slices of Ready Rock happiness, lining the pockets of the death dealers who slung it. Rockhead had been beyond thrilled when 2 a.m. finally rolled around and he was able to close up shop. All that was left to do was lock the remainder of the drugs away and bag up the money before he closed down for the morning. Getting money in Pittsburgh was hardly as glamorous as what he was used to in Harlem, but he had to make do with it, at least until he figured a way out of the mess he'd managed to get himself into. Originally from Harlem, Rockhead was a mid-level nobody who was more of a thorn in the side of everyone who knew him. He made his money jacking and slinging, depending on however he was feeling that day, and blew his money frivolously on purple haze and chicks. Rockhead's appetite for the flesh of young girls was almost insatiable, and this was the beginning of the end of his problems. Rockhead had developed quite a name for himself based on his exploits with underage girls, and it all came back to bite him in the ass when he woke up handcuffed to a hospital bed. Rockhead had been the victim of a robbery he'd orchestrated that had gone horribly wrong, leaving several people dead and him shot. He'd initially thought the police were holding him in connection with the mass murder they'd found him in the middle of, but the rabbit hole ran much deeper. They had him on 7 counts of statutory rape and 7 counts of attempted murder. Rockhead was HIV positive and intentionally passing it to the young girls. Rockhead was able to offer up information on some cats he knew and barter himself a bail while he waited on his court date. Needless to say that he fled the moment he got out, but his new fugitive status with the police was the least of his concerns. In order to get his escape pass, he had to lie on one of the illest killers in the 5 boroughs. He knew that for as long as the killer lived, he would always have to sleep with one eye open. Trying to take his mind off his past life, Rockhead busied himself at stuffing the trap money into his Louis Vuitton knapsack and eating the last of the sausage pizza that sat on the table amid the money and drug packages. He wasn't sure where the pizza had come from, but he was glad to have it, as it had been hours since he'd eaten. He had gotten to the last few bites when he...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?